for some reason it turns out absolutely horrible, we'll probably do something a little different. It literally is pretty much cardboard. Note to self, you gotta try to make sure you cut all the way through. We are totally using a Sharpie to mark this all out. Actually, Jim, probably grab that fire extinguisher. A bunch of wet towels and a fiberglass blanket.
Oh, fish! Oh. A fish! You got a fish!
Oh, so you guys seen, we finished up the floor for the generator. Well, it's not finished, but we got the glass work done. Still gotta give it a sand and get some gel coat on it. But we are switching tasks to something else while that is kind of still curing. Just ate some lunch and still a little tacky. Peel ply is still off. We're gonna wait. So something exciting. Got the laser level out. Some calipers here, and what we are currently doing is, I haven't measured anything, but we're using that laser. We're going to find the center of the shaft, so this way I can mark where the center is up here, which you can just see that. So we can fiberglass the backings for these, and once I get that fiberglassed, I have these made up, which you guys seen, and these are going to be the backing plates to those, which have to get slid down there, and then I'm going to 5200 them into place, drill some holes, bolt them on, and then essentially clamp it in place so that I can cut off my little handle, and those are going to stay back there for the rest of probably the rest of the boat's life. Those are just solid 1-inch plates that we made at my shop, so I don't have to try to fit my hand back in there and a wrench and thread on nuts and bolts. I figured this would be just a nice, easier way, and it's a massive washer to clamp. So that's currently what we got set up. So to make sure that the laser is straight, because it doesn't take much to be off center here. Like, you can eyeball it pretty good, but a 1/8 of an inch here turns out to 2 inches over there. So I'm going to use my calipers here. So I gotta do some math here. Find the center of the shaft, measure it. I might have to make a little tick on the top since I can't see the numbers. See if you guys can see that. You guys can't, but I can. I'm gonna make a little measurement or a little mark on the caliper so I could set it up here and then up there to get 2 reference points to make sure my laser is perfectly straight, and then mark over there. This is a lot more exciting than weeks of sanding that has been happening. It's nice to just be doing something slightly different. Progress. Some progress. Matt's over there marking that. We had our 2 reference points. It was quite interesting. I had to take apart a level here because the dilemma is, you can see my little mark that I made on the calipers. You can find the center, but you can rotate this. So what we did is I put the level on here, and then I held it level, and we actually marked back here and then up in the front, so this way those 2 points lined up, and it actually looks pretty darn good over here, because unfortunately you really can't just measure in between stringers. Like, you can get an idea, or even off of the wall you can get a close idea, which is kind of what we're going to do, but it's not going to be perfect compared to this. Thankfully, at the end of the day, we're working with 6-inch I-beams that the engine's sitting on, so you definitely have a couple inches of wiggle room. That worst case scenario, you can scoot left and right kind of thing. But we're trying to have things just absolutely perfect and line up within 1/8 of an inch without having to really scoot things over and modify it like that. So that's perfect. That means that's lined up. And my engines, from the center of the mounts to the center of the mounts for the cats, is exactly 3 feet. What I'm pretty much gonna do, we're just gonna take a measurement like this. It's at 1.5 feet. So at exactly 1.5 feet, we're gonna make the mark, and just like what Matt did there, that little tiny mark. So there's our center point, which if I get out of the way, you can see the laser. And now,
that's the center of our plate.
That is going to be the center of where this goes. And then, like I said, to help verify, we are going to measure off of what will be a pretty good point on the hull, but you're still going to have a variance of a little bit, like maybe 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch, something like that. Got things marked out. As you can see by my scribbled outline, we had to double check things and came to the conclusion that we actually needed to bump over. It was exactly a 1/4 inch. Actually, here you can see the mark from last time. Yeah, the math wasn't mathing. We did a lot of measurements. Took way longer than I was hoping, I guess, but it was one of those things you measure 30 times and do it once. There's gonna be 1 bracket, 2, 3, and 4. And what we are going to be doing is a couple different things. I want to make this a nice flat surface, and because of fiberglassing over and tabbing in, there's a lot of rough areas. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to take 1 big piece like that, and then this smaller piece like that. So that's how this will kind of be fiberglassed on that wall. And this is obviously backwards, but you kind of see these for size reference. This gets bolted there. And this way you can see I have that little bit of extra all the way around. I can then sand everything to make sure it's a nice, flat, snug fit. Because from the factory, they actually just stuck a whole bunch of like a rubber silicone behind it to try to get it, I guess, essentially flat and easy to squish together. I'm trying to just make it a nice, tight, perfect fit, and that's what I'm going to do. More fiberglassing. I got some resin with wax, about to mix it up and get to work. I'll get back to you once I get them on the wall so you can see what it looks like at that point. Looking perfect. This sanded, prepped, things are taped off. Ready for that wax gel coat. Matt here, guy's leaving, but he has everything prepped.
Sure do.
Ready to get things rolling. So this way this can all completely cure, and then we'll do a final sand, and then that will be ready for paint. Getting these brackets set up, got the mag drill ready to go, and this is the scenario for these 2 engine brackets, this one and the one that's going to go right here, is, as you guys know, I had to shrink my water tank, and when doing so I only left 1 inch of gap. Actually, it was so tight I ended up sanding some of this rounded corner that has way too many layers from wrapping the corner. I actually sanded this one down. This one has a little bit more clearance, and it looks like the fiberglass just was wrapping nicer in that one spot, thankfully. I have these brackets that are going to slide down in there. The I-beams get welded to this, and those are going to get 5200 to the back side. But because this is an exact pattern of these, I need to try to drill the 4 holes through here pretty much exactly dead nut straight, or at least as close as possible, so I don't got to try to waller out the holes through 5 inches of Kusa and glass. So my plan is use the mag drill. Unfortunately, I don't have much penetration. At least what it can do is get me a starting point of a pretty level straight hole. Thinking about trying to use my laser level and seeing if I can set that up to continue following the laser on the drill bit to keep it nice and straight, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it goes good, because really don't want to screw this up. But yeah, the other one goes here, which obviously I have all the room in the world. And these hatches go in this top area. So there's a hatch on that side and a hatch on this side to access anything that's down in here. This one actually has a pump for my ACs to drain into all the condensation, and then it gets drained out. So there'll actually be a hatch there, but it also allows me to access the bolts there. Once this is done, this pretty much all gets closed off in fiberglass, and for the most part, you actually will never be able to access these guys ever again. We're kind of stuck in there. And that's the way it was even from the factory. I had to cut out the top deck to be able to access the bolts back there. So that is why I powder coated them too, just to help with corrosion, help any rust, because they're pretty much going to be hidden for the next many years. You would be able to, in theory, stick your head in and kind of look sideways down the crack here, but that's about it. So that there's the setup. I'll be able to get almost 2 inches of depth drilled, and it is 5 layers of 3/4. It's not going to obviously go through all the way, but it'll give me a good straight starting point to stick the drill bit in and hopefully just continue the hole nice and straight. Got her clamped on with the C-clamp, lined up, and seemed to work pretty good. Might have to move the C-clamp for the last one. Let's see. Oh, no, we're good. I would call that a success. So that gave me nice straight holes. So this way, even if I leave this clamped, try to keep my drill nice and straight with the pre-existing hole and the metal with the fiberglass, which will help it from wanting to wander and try to go straight in. And obviously, make sure I don't go too far and drill a new hole in the water tank. That'd be fun. So yeah, just gotta repeat that one more time. That actually worked a whole lot better than I was thinking. So I do wish I had a mag drill where I could put a normal drill bit on it and have something that would give more depth, but unfortunately this is what I'm stuck with. It is what it is. I was able to borrow it from a friend because I don't actually own a mag drill, but this helped out a lot, that's for sure. This is going to keep things nice and straight and square. Whole lot better than me just trying to hand bomb this or freehand it. Got my big drill bit set up in drill, and I think I'm kind of playing around with things and just holding it in here. You can really tell where it's sitting centered. I am thinking about just trying to freehand it and just seeing what happens. Kind of just going for it. I think that's the plan. I'm gonna do this one, and for some reason it turns out absolutely horrible. Then that side, we'll probably do something a little different. You can really tell where it's sitting centered. Definitely trying to be cautious with that water tank. That tank is pretty darn thick, so not overly worried about it, but yeah, so far pretty darn good. Alright, I'm gonna get these all done. I gotta move this clamp. And I grabbed some bolts here. What I'm gonna do before trying to fight with this is obviously the same bolt pattern. I'm gonna see if I can stick that in there and make sure everything slides through properly. See if some of these bolts are lining up. So far, that's looking pretty promising. So there's the bracket. You can see, you probably can't see the other side, but everything is lining up. So for some reason, it wasn't lining up because I have to go all the way through and find the same hole pattern on the backside. If I started drilling and off to an angle or something like that, it would never line up to the plate because it is a square plate with the same matching holes. So that seems to line up pretty good. I think that's going to be the plan. Going to copy the other side, and after that probably get some 5200, get these plates in gear. Did notice one thing though. These are the bolts I was going to use, and so that's as far as it can go because it is hitting the water tank. I'm going to have to, I don't know, get some sort of spacer, get a nut or something, so this way when I bolt the plates up, I can clamp it tight and allow that 5200 to dry. The reason I'm using a 5200 is that's a pretty heavy piece. It's probably 10 pounds. So that 5200, if you ever dealt with 5200, you know, once it's glued, it's glued. So this way I can bolt it all in, let the 5200 cure. I'll be able to take these bolts out, and those suckers are going to be just hanging there on the back. For a peace of mind, I'm probably going to thread 2 of these bolts back in without these plates here, while they're just, so they're not just completely dangling back there. But it'll be something where I'm able to completely remove the plate and all the bolts, and it will still for sure be dangling back there. If not, then I'm going fishing somehow with some sort of magnet or something to try to get them out, which, let's knock on some Kusa, that is not the case. All right, I'm gonna get the other side done. So just like that, look how good those holes look in all my area with that extra reinforcement of glass. And this side, I even actually tightened this one all the way down, and all of these are currently threaded in to the plate. That's right there. These little guys are just there so I can obviously hold things, and then they're barely tacked on, and I'm hoping to just break them off or just get the angle grinder in there, zip them off, put a little dab of paint on it, and call it good. I'm going to grab the 5200, and what I'm actually going to do is, for one, probably fill in my extra holes, because pretty sure I already explained this, but this was just a chunk of metal that I had kicking around. Why it had all the holes in it, I don't know. Did I bother filling it in? Nope. If you ask me, it's some weight reduction. I'll stick some 5200 in there, but I just needed these holes, and it really didn't matter what it looked like because it's going behind this bulkhead to never be seen again, and it's going to act as one giant, pretty much nut. 4 nuts in one with washers. Going to 5200 a big bead like this, and then something up the middle. I'm going to leave the bottom, or at least I'm going to try. I'm going to leave the bottom exposed because all of this metal will sweat. There's kind of no getting around it, and this isn't something that I'm trying to make watertight. The only reason I'm using the 5200 is to fix it to the back so it can stay there so I can take things on and off. In theory, it would have almost been nice to like countersink a hole in the middle, drill an extra hole right in the middle and bolt it on so it can stay there, but you know, I didn't, so we're just going to 5200. But back to what I was saying about it sweating. Things will sweat, so you get that condensation that builds up and then goes away. Even though this is Kusa and nothing can rot, instead of having moisture sitting in there, I'm going to leave this all exposed, so if any condensation builds in here, it can actually drip and let the gravity just let it fall down. Because again, not trying to seal this off whatsoever. I'm not using the 5200 to seal it. I'm just using it as an adhesive to glue it. I did scuff these down with some 120 grit, both of them. This way you can see the shine's taken off of it there. And now, like I said, I'm gonna fill these holes just for the fun of it. And then we're gonna get these suckers in place. So like I said, we're going to try to avoid this whole bottom. I've had one of these things blow up using an electric gun, so don't want to go too crazy on the pressure here. Actually, you can see the last time it blew up. And it was 5200 as well. Well, I guess I was just going to do a big fat line in the middle, and between trying to talk to you and holding you guys in one hand and this, I already kind of forgot. Well, try again this time. There. Well, that's what I was trying to do until I don't even know. Looks like me trying to draw as a little kid. That's what happened. It's because of the little hump in the fiberglass on this side, and I don't know if my tank just isn't perfectly square or whatever, but I can't just drop this one straight down. I kind of got to go over here and slide it over, so that's going to be the plan. I guess I can show you this. I had every random thing I could find that was on the boat, including some of these big nuts, but this way, when you push them through, they stick out just about that much. The other side has more room, so it's a lot easier. Make sure this one looks like it. Thankfully, both sides each had one hole that I had to tweak just a little bit. I'm talking like maybe a 1/16 of an inch to be perfectly lined up. Oh, yeah. Impact. Of course, battery's dead. Cordless tools. That's looking perfect. Check that out. Some good squish out. It's all clamped nice and tight. I'll be able to, well, I guess I could probably, yeah. Now, to do this one. And actually, I was worried about rubbing all the 5200 out, but I nicked it a little bit right there. But other than that, pretty clean. Still lots of 5200. Now that it's bolted tight, I can actually see a little bit of a gap between the water tank and the plate itself. I am quite happy with that. Curious for anybody who's ever done things like this. Let me know in the comments what you guys would have came up with to try to mount these. That was my best thought in scenario. Instead of holding a wrench down there with a nut and playing that whole game where you tape them on and hold it down there and try to get the washer on at the same time, I figured something like this would just be nice, and then my I-beam will be welded to that, and I think that is going to be a fantastic mounting system. I'm going to do this one, then that is it for today. It's one of those days where I popped in after work to get some more things done, and I still haven't even sanded these ones down yet. We have got a lot of the sanding done though. It's getting exciting because probably in about 5 to 7 days, I would say, we're going to start fabbing things and getting things set up to get these engines in here, which, my God, I've been looking forward to. The fiberglass work is almost complete. I'll catch you guys in the next exciting update. Just a quick little after work update here. Getting things ready to, for the most part, be able to start setting up and getting things prepped for engines to go in. This bulkhead is getting majorly reinforced. So I got a layer of that heavy mat, 1708, pretty much exactly where the mounts are going to be. Then after I do this, I got 4 layers of 1708 going over this whole thing, just on this side. Then after that, I already have them cut out, same thing. So just like that, 2 perfect squares, one slightly bigger than the other, that will go exactly where those engine mounts will go, or I should say the I-beams that the engine sit on where it will go. So in those spots, you're talking the factory layer of glass, then you have a heavy mat, a 1708, 3 more 1708s, that's going to be full sheets all the way across, then 1 layer of heavy mat, that's going to be the wax coating, and then once that dries, I'll sand that down and do 2 more layers of 1708 where the I-beams are going to bolt to. So that sucker right there is going to be solid. This way we don't ever have to worry about it. Because quite frankly, some of the factory glass here, like you can see where it's been recored. She's solid now, but just not very thick. There was actually one little spot which I got a bunch of extra glass cut up here, where I started grinding down the gel coat and found my way right through the other side. It was just some extremely thick gel coat, so I don't know what happened there. I think they might have, like, when they built this bulkhead, if they either just tabbed things in all together and then right in that area, just things never overlapped, and they're just like, oh, let's just fill it with a ton of thickened gel coat. Just giving you a bit of an update. Not really going to film this because at this point you guys have seen me do glass work after glass work after glass work. When I start getting into the tricky things like fixing my ceiling / floor, or the back window with gel coat where I had to cut out, that's when we'll get into more detailed videos again about glassing and what I'm doing in the process. I just want to be able to get things like this, get some metal fab going, some welding, and I want to get this done. Today's Thursday, and I've just been coming here after work every night. So I want to get this all done because that would mean this weekend, I'm hoping, my big goal for the weekend is to be able to have all these I-beams built and welded and ready to go, and this way next week, go get them powder coated. All right, I'm gonna get to work again. All right guys, it's Saturday. It's later in the day today. I've been pretty busy just trying to get things done because I'm starting to become in that time crunch. The bulkhead on the back side is all completely glassed, except I still have to cut out my holes. I already did that one, still got to do that one, and then there's one more back there. This sucker is so solid now. So it has the factory glass, then where the I-beams are going on, I put 2 massive pieces of 1708 that go from about here all the way to the hull and about here. So there's 2 layers. That was the first 2 layers that I did. Then I did 3 full layers of 1708 all the way across. Then after that, I did, just like you see me do here, my 2 layers, but I figured I could try to hide them a little bit. So I did them first. So there's that extra 2 layers. So now we're at 8 layers of 1708. And then to finish it all off and be able to kind of sand smooth is that 1 layer of heavy mat, which unfortunately I still don't know what ounce that mat is, but it's a heavy duty mat for sure. Go check that out. It is looking good. With that being said, my next focus is this front deck area. I'm so tired of moving these pieces around and sitting. I have the Kusa all cut for it, and I keep moving them off, putting them back, moving them off, putting them back, trying to organize, figuring things out. So spent the last hour or so getting all this ready, screwed into place, and then you can see where the old factory glass was and where I had to cut my water tank. That the seam is right there. So now I'm gonna get a whole bunch of 1708 and some heavy mat that I have all cut in pieces and just start laying them in, tabbing all of this all back together. And right here is where my water tank sits. So honestly, this might be wrong, not correct, not the right way to do it, but I want this sucker really reinforced. So right here, I'm actually going to be fiberglassing a piece of Kusa right down to this stringer, because this is right where the middle of the water tank sat. And when I cut this all apart, from the weight of that bigger water tank. I forget what it is. I think it's a 40-gallon water tank or 38-gallon water tank that sits there. And it was beveling everything. Mind you, this bulkhead used to be here, so there was a lot greater of a span, but it still started bowing. And then the condensation from that water tank in the Canadian winters, and well, even where the boat came from in the American winters there, still that condensation, hot, cold, and getting it sweat was pooling water right there. A couple different things. Just like all of the sides, this is actually tapered about 1 degree down. And right now with no engines in the boat, it's pretty much level. But once the engines go in the boat and my whole back end of the boat is gonna drop at least probably 8 inches. It's sitting higher right now. So that should give me my at least 1 degree here. So no more runoff anywhere in this thing. Everything is sloped about 1 degree or 2. Away from the walls, all a drain. Well, one of the biggest reasons I picked up the cameras, I wanted to show you guys this. Here's the factory weep holes on what they did. So there's a factory weep hole. Pretty much just ended the glass, let her fly. There's 1, there's 2. I want things to look pretty darn good, so my weep holes are gonna look like that. Perfect round tubes. I guess it's kind of hard to tell because there's some gel coat and paint on the bottom, but that's that solid tubing that I made out of glass, where I just wrapped pretty much a pipe with, I think it was like 7 layers of 1708 to make a nice perfect 2-inch tube. And it looks so much better, so much cleaner. I'm gonna get this going. I'll take you along for a little bit of it. Considering I had all the exhaust fans on and I was just trying to get this done, and I had her mixed pretty spicy. It was mixed so spicy that parts of it are already pretty hard. This is also pretty much as rough fiberglassing as you can do. This is what the factory does and everything when you're just trying to pretty much glue things into place. You just kind of slather it on. Didn't use a bubble buster to get all the air pockets out. Just used the paint roller. And like you can see, there's a little air bubble there and little air bubble there. For the most part, we're talking about 2-inch rib or a little mini stringer if you would, and almost 3 inches of tabbing 2 inches high. And then this is the part that actually ends up being seen, because this is my access for all my fresh water level sending units and water in and out and things like that. So I did kind of try to be cautious around the area here. So this way I can get in there and eventually hand sand it. Probably just use some thickened gel coat in this area to smooth it out and call it a day, put the cover on it. And the only person that will ever really see it is me when I go to open it up to do any work there. I left it high in these spots just because it was tricky. What I'm gonna do is once it's all done, any of the high spots I'm gonna sand low or sand down and then trim up here. Once the top pretty much goes on, that kind of stuff is never to be seen again, ever. It's going to be sealed up, gone. And that is why I was waiting to do this, because I needed those done. Which we're on like probably day 4 of those things curing, but it's just normal 5200, not fast cures. I'm just going to leave them bolted there for as long as possible, and when I'm ready to unbolt them, that's what I'll do. I actually had to, this one was a little bit in the way when I was trying to set this up, so I undid it, spun it around, put it back in, and the 5200 was dried enough to allow me to do that. Beautiful morning happening today, and things kind of exciting are happening. Got a quick, simple digital angle reader, because we are getting ready to start getting things put back in the boat. One of the big things happening right now is this. Trying to get this transmission mount set up. We have to build these plates. The plan is we are going to use these brackets, which are the old ones. They were sandblasted and unfortunately hit some moisture, so got some flash rust, but we'll get them cleaned up. These are the old plates off the old set of gears, and the dilemma is they no longer fit. They are, if you line that hole up, kind of hard to do one-handed, but you can see, not even close. They're about, I'd say about 1.5 inches too short in both length and width. So we cut them off, and we are working on trying to figure out the angle so we can start building new ones. For the most part, we are gonna probably just get the plates on, get the transmissions to the boat, set it up where we attach the coupler, and then weld the two pieces together that attaches to the actual mounts themselves, which are these guys here, which essentially just sit on the I-beams. But in order to do all of that, we need to get a lot more things figured out as height and things like that so we can get those I-beams in the right spot. Got good old Jim over here. What are you doing? Getting some measurements going?
That there is all in here now.
Look at that.
Each one of your ones. Hole, 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 hole.
So he's got, I was busy at work and Jim was busy getting these all cut. Look at how good those look. So we cut up some plate. I say we, it was more just Jim. He's got all the measurements going, and yeah, these are going to be the plates that will be welded on to those angle brackets to hang those transmissions. Got the plates welded together and just drilling a pilot hole. Figured we would tack them together and just weld them all at the same time instead of doing individual plates. Working pretty good so far. Finally, guys, something exciting starting to happen. Got my buddy Jim here. You guys seen him. He helped actually get the engines out originally, and he's been helping me out the last little bit, and by the sounds of it, he's going to continue helping me, so he'll be around quite often now. You just seen him in the shop making those engine mounts, and now we got some things going on that we probably sat here just scratching our heads and pondering things for at least 2-3 hours now, between stress, emotions, everything that just happened, trying to get this stuff figured out. I'll show you what's going on right now. So you see we got laser level, we got an engine mount, we got a shaft coupler, we got shims, everything going on, because this is where it starts to get very crucial and just a ton of measurements. We are trying to get things set up to mount the I-beams. And some of the crazy things that we are dealing with is the shaft angle is an 8.5 degree angle. So what we are dealing with is transmissions that have an output shaft of 10 degrees. So we got 8.5 degrees with a transmission of a 10 degree output angle. Works pretty good. I wish I was that 1.5 degree matching, but we're not. So this is what's happening. We're coming off of this shaft and we are tapering down 1.5 degrees. I wish it was gonna be 0, but that's just unfortunately not the case. And this is kind of the scenario of buying used engines and getting what I got for the most part. Which means what we are now going to have to do is the engine from the original Mans are sitting quite a bit lower into here, which I'm totally okay with, but the I-beams are now going to be welded. It's actually going to be sitting 1 inch lower off of this beam. So either we're going to fill this gap in, or that's for a later scenario. And then what we actually are going to be doing is notching out the I-beams, which when I get to that point, I'll bring you along, you'll see what I'm talking about, to countersink the front mounts, just to get everything lower. We got the center marks where everything is going. This is actually, right here is the center of the output shaft on that side, but tapered 1.5 degrees. Right, like how complicated is that, guys? Me and Jim, right? We have sat here scratching our heads trying to get this all figured out and trying to make sure it's just perfect, because you don't really have too many shots at this. It's trying to get it done, get these built, get them either powder coated or painted. But something funny I thought I would show you. We are leaving a shim in here, which is close to a 1/2 inch. But as you guys know, I'm in Canada, so it's actually not 1/2 inch plywood. It's metric version, which honestly, I don't even remember the metric conversion for it. But it's rated real close to a 1/2 inch. But what's funny is I was just showing Jim here what I pulled out for shims. This is what the factory had in this bad boy. I'm gonna try to leave approximately a 1/2 inch to be able to use solid fiberglass 1/2 inch shims, which I'll show you later that I have. But this is what came out of here from factory. So there's 2 shims still, oh, looks like 3 shims still glued together. Here's one piece of wood. Here's some bathroom compression board, cardboard. It literally is pretty much cardboard. Then we got this guy, which, yep, whatever that is. But yeah, that's what the factory did. So I'm assuming what they did is, because it's a production boat, they just built these I-beams all straight up, same measurements, say 70 inches, built 4 of them times however many boats they planned on building. And then when they brought them into here, because when you're fiberglassing, nothing is straight, nothing is square, nothing is flat. So what they did is they just essentially was like, hey, what things do we have around the shop that we could cut into various thickness, and then just build each one to fill the gap. What we are going to be doing is building them to this boat, 1/2 inch gap. We're going to weld them in place, take them out, and then pretty much finish. We're going to just tack them into place really well in here, take them out, and then finish everything later. That's what we are going to start doing, but I had to show you guys the funniness about this. And the stress levels were through the roof trying to get this stuff figured out with these angles and getting things lined up and where the engine's mounts were sitting. Think it's all figured out. We're going to start getting to work. Gonna have to try out this fancy new saw. And that's, we had them rough cut. I left purposely about 1 inch because I didn't know exactly where things were going to end up when I was still in the midst of fiberglassing. Let's get these cut. Oh, I see what you mean now. Can't see the...
Right there on the 0.
That's where it is?
And this you could pull up and it shows the bottom, but it doesn't, you can't see. You see it?
Yeah, just barely. I wish it had a light. Oh, it does have a light. Nifty. Always wear your safety squints. Oh. Why is she stuck? The beam has pinched. Come on, I don't want to break the carburetor.
There you go, now try it.
All right, note to self, you gotta try to make sure you cut all the way through. So that's the scenario there. Because it's an I-beam, she kind of pinched back. But worked pretty darn good. We were running into some issues. It is a crazy windy day. So use the saw, and unfortunately, we're about 1 inch shy. Story of some people's life. So, we got the torch. Should be able to cut through the rest. Let's see, try to keep it nice and straight. Like butter, guys. It's the one thing. Having the right tools, man, does it make your life easy. Now we got a little eye for, I don't know, something. All right, let's manhandle it in here. Once you get it slightly in, if you want to close the door so we don't have to worry about ripping off our sweet welds. Yeah, I got this. Nope. My factory shoes. Alright, guess we didn't plan this far ahead, huh? Alright guys, it's in at least. I think we're gonna have to build some blocks to shim it up to be able to tack this sucker on. We're going 5 inches up on these. Fortunately guys, I'm not a fabricator. We are totally using a Sharpie to mark this all out. 5 inches. We're gonna have to build the leaning tower piece or stand one straight up and down.
Shooting up out there. Almost there.
Don't worry guys, this side will be pretty easy because we're almost touching the hull here. That's gonna be a whole nother scenario in itself when we get to this side. Because I still have my anti-sink Ford F-150 ball joint in there, so still gotta deal with that. That is 100% in the way. Oh, I gotta go.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's gotta it too tight?
Yeah.
Okay, one second, let me come up.
Oh, there we go.
No? No, man.
You're in?
Oh, man, that's like almost gone.
Freaking a hair
I gotta go hair down. Like you can just
yeah, and I
see the
gotta
line.
go. So, that's the mark right there. And his, Jim's side is freaking just below it. Oh, I can
I get
just
it.
see it.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh, we need
Watch out, wood, you can come up with it. Again?
No. Use my bad finger. Okay, go. Oh, we're still just there.
Cardboard.
Oh, we have our shim collection here.
Forgot about theirs.
Let's go with that and then work that
Oh.
piece. Oh, look at that. Factory Viking. Pretty much perfect there.
Right.
And there. We got kind of straightened out. All right, I think we're gonna try to get some things set up for getting this welder in here and getting some wet towels, some fiberglass blankets, and the front of this I-beam, we are essentially going to be cutting away all of the strength. We are going to be cutting something like this. It's going to come down on an angle. Sorry guys, I'm trying to do this while looking through the camera. So it's going to be a shape like that. Little 45-degree angle, flat 45. But there's only going to be about 2 inches left here. It actually will look pretty good because it's going to be a motor mount flush in the I-beam. So this way that engine can sit nice and low. So what we're going to do though is on the back side of this where you won't see. So it'll look clean here. And to everybody that understands the physics of structural stuff like this will look at this and be like, oh my God, that thing is going to snap in half. But this is where on the back side of it, we're going to plate the back side with some ridiculous metal. So what we're going to do is the piece that will be left after it's all cut out is the back side. I have some 5/8 plate that we used to make the transmission mounts. So something pretty crazy, like thickness like this. And what we'll do is we'll build something and weld it all on the inside of this to make it just extremely strong, back to the original strength. I will do some math and look some things up on how much thickness I should add. If I have to do both sides, so be it, I'll do both sides. So like this bottom 2-inch piece would essentially end up being like 1-inch solid stock because it'll be sandwiched with a 1/4 inch, actually even more, because 5/8, quarter, 5/8, so you'll be like 1.5 inches. But like I said, I'll do some math, I'll do some Googling. I have a good buddy that's an iron worker, Calvin, you know who he is. He's able to get good numbers on what strength can hold what. That's who I used to help me get these engines out. When I brought the 44-foot long I-beam in here, I said, hey, we're gonna have to span about 30 feet at a time, hanging almost 6,000 pounds off of it. And he's the one that's like, this is the I-beam that will do it without a worry. And it definitely did that. We'll have to do some funky things here. When you walk in, that's where that beam is gonna sit. Oh yeah, by the way, I did finish the top of this. Haven't finished sanding it, and I still have one more thin layer to do on top, but you guys get the idea. Well, I would say what we should do is weld a nice good bead on the corner.
Yeah, each corner.
And then a nice chunk down here on both sides.
Yeah.
And then each corner. That should hold it, because we are going to probably pump it and stuff trying to get it out of here. Trying to get things prepped for welding. What we do need to do, guys, is I'm going to actually grab my little bird tool and label 1, 2, 3, 4. Because as we know, nothing is straight. So we're cutting these to fit in here. And what we need to do is, or don't need to, but I would like to try to get them labeled. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this way when we go to put things back in, we just know, because some are going to be shorter, longer, tapered, slightly different, things like that. I'm going to grab these guys out on the back of them, which is pretty funny. Because there is my model number and everything from the factory. So I'm going to scribe a little 1. something like this. This way when they get powder coated, you'll still be able to see where they are. This is where the good old cheap 110 welder with some flux core comes in handy. Totally could have dragged my big welder in here, but for what we're doing, this should work just fine. We just needed to hold it in place until we can bring them back to the shops. I'm actually gonna play the classic catch the sparks in a bucket guy to see if I can minimize. Actually, Jim, should probably grab that fire extinguisher, bring it a little closer just in case.
We don't want to trip over anything.
Yeah, somebody trip and fall. Just put that right on my foam flooring there or something.
Tell me when you're ready.
Yeah. Okay, you're good. So you're working pretty good, guys. Bunch of wet towels and a fiberglass blanket. But I might have to turn the fan on. Smoking this out. We got the little 110 welder cranked to the max on a 50-foot extension cord, so totally popped the breaker. Now we got it into a 30 amp adapter, so. Should hold pretty good.
Put a little bit on that side.
Well, beside my fire truck golf cart is the I-beam. Technically, guys, this is actually an H-beam, not an I-beam. I know for some people that don't know, like I didn't, it gets kind of confusing, but yes, this is technically, I think, an H-beam. Honestly, at this point, I could be even wrong too. But what I forgot to do with this one is, as you see, there's no marking. This tool has no guard. Time for the safety, so I don't think the safety squints will cut for this one. Sorry for the horrible noise. Hopefully we made it a little quieter during editing. Besides for my little scribbly mark, that's a 2. Now we know where it goes. Time to do some weight reduction. I learned, guys. Continue cutting all the way through. While Jim's over there cleaning up that I-beam, we're gonna bring this in, get it welded. I'm not gonna film this part just because it's copy and repeat. You guys already seen what was happening, so once we get to the exciting ones, I'll bring you back along. Unfortunately, the ball joint is gonna have to go. Trying to get this up, we have to go 1 inch lower in this sucker. Now that the I-beam used to sit right here, and 1 inch higher, she's got to go. So, more trying to sink the boat. Let's see what happens. We got a game plan going, but you'll see what's happening.
Dada.
Okay, one sec.
Pull that, and I'm gonna
Dad, you
rip
did
this
have one Viking box thing.
just in case.
Well, this is what I
Starting to
did
drip
last time.
already, so.
Yeah, which isn't a big deal. Just that's what I did last time. If we
You pull it, I'm gonna get it.
Dad,
ready?
Yep.
Dad,
Oh, fish!
Oh.
A fish! We got a fish!
Whoa!
We got a
Oh, look at that, guys!
fish! We got a fish!
That is awesome. And of course, you know, if you guys remember, I called that my fish tank, and we actually got a fish.
What? There's a fish.
I promise you guys, that was not planned. I guess it is a sport fish for a reason, right? This is just, I'll call it my live well. That actually worked really well.
That actually popped up in there.
That
Where's that cap? Where's that screw-on cap? Give me that one. It fits on here.
No.
Yeah, it does.
I cannot believe we have a fish, guys. Guys, we got a fish. Look at this.
Okay.
Yeah, but why don't we try to cut it
Cut
lower?
it down and then put that on?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get a half inch out of there.
I'll use the, get the fish
What is
out of
that?
here. What is it? I don't even know what kind of fish it is. Little baby something. All right, we're gonna cut this down and I'll get back to you. Capped it. Now we don't just changed our F-150 ball joint, so instead of this big guy sticking out, which worked for the emergency when we were dealing with it, but a little bit more low profile and easier to deal with, and hopefully will clear the I-beam we have to put in here. Moving back over to this one, gonna try the same thing. Got this galvanized cap. I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but we're gonna try, see what happens. Doing the same thing. Have a chunk of my foam that I've been using, all the chunks kicking around for, you gotta have something to kneel on. I'm not even that old, but let me tell you, kneeling on cold hard fiberglass, little chunks of those foams has been great. So cut a little piece up, gonna do the same thing. I already made sure, I already got the wrench before picking up the camera, making sure that I could at least crack this sucker loose. See what we can do. Hopefully this one pops out and can get that cap screwed on. I would like to get some Teflon tape on here or something like that, but we'll see where things go. Let's get this foam jammed in there and see if this will even work to begin with. All right. Let's see what ends up happening. I already feel it. I don't see any fish this time. And this piece of foam is already working really well. See if I can get it all packed in there. I didn't think I need a fitting. Now let's hope this works. Oh yeah, beauty. So if you're anything like me, you wrap the Teflon tape on backwards and then realize it's backwards, and either keep going sometimes or you take it off and do it right. Somehow I seem to always forget my righty-tighty, lefty-loosey kind of ordeal when dealing with the Teflon tape. We will call that capped for the time being, with some galvanized cap on brass or probably bronze. Probably not ideal, but it will do for right now. All things considered, it went pretty good. We literally barely have any water. And unfortunately nothing living in this one. I'm gonna get the shop vac going and vacuum that out. And then for the most part, I think I'm calling it for today. I might do some sanding on here. This doesn't have a wax coat on it. I still have one more layer that I want to do on here. So I might get this all sanded and prepped for glass. And then I'm going to move over to this. I got to cut that hatch out. I'm going to router or do something for these areas. I still got to figure that out. Make some more room for the engine mount brackets. This way I think tomorrow I can come in and just be done with fiberglassing, which will be nice, except for small little tedious things, which that's not a big deal. Like I still have to glass around the holes for where the shafts are, and like my pass-throughs, you can actually still see the Kusa in there. So I still got to do 1, 2, 3, and I still got to clean up that hole. It kind of looks like an egg right now. It's not fully trimmed out. After that though, knock on some wood coring and foam. It'll be hopefully the end of the glass work in here. And finally on to some mechanical things, getting things figured out and going back together. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right, it's a little bit later, guys, but we got this one in place. Ran into a couple complications. These humps down at the bottom, we actually had to notch them out just a little bit. Took them down with the good old angle grinder there. Jim was been a big help. Got those done actually while I was out at work. And now, right, Jim? Let's get this bad boy welded. So.
Here we go.
Got the fire blanket set up. I'm on fireman duty again. Works pretty good. As you guys see though, with the fire blanket wrapped around, there's almost no sparks that kind of leave the little area. Let's see how, oh yeah. Got her welded. So this is what we do when we actually tack it in a lot better. Because we're using about a 1/4 inch shim of plywood for a couple different reasons. Ease of being able to lift these I-beams out without them being completely wedged. It's also nice because you can slide the shim out on both directions when you tack them. So we're not worried about burning the fiberglass, which as you see, that's what we did there. We've already flopped it to the other side. And yep, there's what we had to do to get around that frickin' old transducer. So we notched the beam like that. What we're gonna do is actually box it in, which sucks because I'm literally doing that for pretty much no reason besides the fact that that is in my way and I can't currently take it out. But it is what it is with, I guess, this project and being in the water. But finally, right, Jim?
Looking good.
All 4 beams are all pretty much tacked in place, ready to go to the shop and get fully welded. And then start doing our notches, everything like that. Good morning. It's Sunday morning. I was here yesterday for probably at least 16 hours. And it was kind of just go, go, go mode because I'm in such a time crunch now. But this happened yesterday. Unfortunately, you guys have seen enough just what to do on fiberglassing where I didn't even bother. And I just go, go, go. Got this sucker done. The gel coat is cured. It has lumps and bumps everywhere in it. These are hatch marks, which I was gonna cut out all fancy. And then I decided, you know what? Maybe I'll leave the glass here and use it to stop anything from dripping down in. We'll see what happens. For this one, I kind of forgot and didn't get a chance to put anything like cardboard or anything underneath. This one, I did, however, do. If you did notice, one hatch is very crooked compared to the other one. Or different. Both hatches used to look like this and like that, but now with moving this bulkhead, I still wanted to have access into there, and mainly because this is where my engine bolts. As you guys seen, I built the plates for here and here, but there is a good amount of little storage slash just being able to access anything that is going wrong or hoses or anything that's down in there. So this hatch, I ended up going back to the original direction. And then this hatch, because it just didn't make sense to go this way, because my water tank sits there. It used to sit in front of the water tank, where I just didn't have that ability no more. So decided to go this route. Just put it this way, which will make sense. The water tank fits there perfectly, have access. This one, all my AC units sit here. And I am gonna actually have to lift my stand for my AC, but I'll be able to still have access down under. So that's what's going on. We're gonna get something cleaned up, start to get this sanded and get a little further along today. Back at it again. Another day, another boat to be built. So we got a lot of things done this weekend. Like I've already explained, kind of just banged through it, got things done. On today's project, since this is all done, you can see by the bare fiberglass under the gel coat, this sucker is, well, right now it's dusty, but she is looking flat. Still have some rough spots along the edges, but for the most part, the radius, it's all shaped, just not completely smoothened out. Trying to get all the wiring prepped, and let me tell you, every single person that walks into this engine room, they come walking down the steps, they sit right here, and they look around and go, Oh my God, that's a lot of wiring. And for the people that sit here and have heard it 30 times, we all get a good chuckle and go, yup, you're not wrong. But man, this is what we were dealing with. Thankfully, unlike some people, like YouTubers like Spirit Animal, that is completely gutting their catamaran and redoing everything, which I actually couldn't even imagine, even with what I have done here. At least everything is here and hasn't sunk in salt water, so it's all usable and stuff like that. It's just trying to make it all look good again. So as you see with back here, I've actually started reorganizing it, have some zip ties roughly in place, just getting things back in place, which is actually going fairly smooth. You can see the rough, getting things ready to go back in place. The massive amount of things that are coming out of here, which I didn't even show you guys. Like when I first bought this boat, the old school electronics or cable TV or actual phones hardwired to every bedroom, which all that stuff was cool in the 90s, but it just doesn't exist nowadays. Between a cell phone and Starlink, probably, no word of a lie, 250 to 500 pounds worth of wire was able to be pulled out of this boat. Like, I'm talking at least 4 or 5 garbage pails full I have actually already taken out of this boat. And fun fact, for the Viking, since it is a production boat, the amount of wires that I pulled out of here that were just looped in cable trays, labeled, and then never used. For an example, some funny things. This is the wiring that was ran for my water maker that was on here. And when I started pulling things apart, I literally pulled out a factory wire, all bundled up in cable tray right here, labeled water maker. All the wires were already there, and then somebody actually went through and ran a new cable over top, re-zip tied it all up, and then labeled it. Like, let's see here. So this wire right here, for AC compressor engine flybridge is what the little label says. But somebody put 2 AC units in the flybridge and then ran it with a new wire instead of using what was already ran all the way to the flybridge. Here, what's another wire here? A refrigerated fish box. Wired, cut, it was all wrapped up in here. What's this guy here? Here's another one. Oh, it's the second wire for the flybridge AC because there is 2. And again, they're already up there and wired and ready to go. Some of the wiring that was pulled out of here is just insane. Oh, here's another bundle. And it's not like there's short runs that are filling these cable trays. Like, look at some of the runs that are in here, which I'm not complaining. I will gladly use all this extra wire. I'm gonna actually, I'll show you guys some things. So coming into the salon, here's some of the things that I've been working on cutting out, mind you. All my fiberglass is stored in here. Here, all coax cables. Look at them all. Coming into my paint storage room, which is actually just where the TV should go. All this extra wire, all sitting here. It's all labeled for things. Salon TV, VHF, all of this wire that was just bundled up in here and sitting in here. Same with still all those VHS cables. It's crazy, some of the wires that I have pulled out of here. It seems like with the Viking being a production boat, it was kind of one of those things where every option is wired for the boat. Like everything that you could have, refrigerated fish boxes, ACs in different areas. Actually, a funny fact, this engine room was wired to put a speaker in every single corner. It was sat here, it was labeled port, starboard, everything you could imagine for a speaker in every corner. That is actually, no, I think I actually took that wire out already. I wish I still had that one to show you because that was kind of funny. Fully wired, ready to go, just speakers in the engine room if you needed. When you look at the cable tray, you can actually see, so you can always tell where the new ones are ran because for the most part, a lot of them are the white color instead of the gray. And then you can see, because it's just been a single zip tie that was added in after. Right here, all the AC wires are bundled up here, and then all of a sudden here's an AC wire zip tied to the low voltage stuff at the bottom. It will be nice what I'm doing, because I just get to eliminate all of the things that just don't need to be there. There's some wires that I'm like, I might be able to utilize that, so I'm leaving it. Like, for instance, there is somewhere around here, there's a wire set up for engine room AC. And with how much time I have spent down here, I'm definitely putting an engine room AC back in here. I think a nice 16,000 BTU unit down in this engine room, I'm doing that. What sucks is trying to now get everything ready. Thankfully, where all the old mounting stuff is, so everything you see a screw, same with all the lights, when you see them in random areas, it's because I'm just utilizing screw holes that were already there. Like right here, on both sides, there was rod holders that I took out. So that's why like a light is just ran funky here. And same with there, right there. I'm gonna utilize a lot of these holes and things like that to try to pull all these wires up, tape them all up, get them wrapped up. And the plan has changed a little bit. I was gonna be painting areas separately, but just with the way life has went and progress, I'm now going to get this all pulled up, and I'm hoping this weekend have everything prime painted done and start getting some engines in here, which you already seen us building I-beams and starting to do those steps. So it's coming along. My goal for today is get most of this cable tray off, everything that's on the wall off of it and pulled away, and just at least tied up out of the way. All right, I'm gonna get to it, guys. Just started cutting out the hatches. So still pretty rough. You can see the jagged edges. You can also see that sweet Kusa. And unfortunately, some resin did drip into here. But overall, I'm pretty happy. Inside here, it's all gel coated. This is my water tank. In process of cutting this one out. For the most part, it just consists of just a good multi-tool, using it on a bit of an angle, and normally I have the vacuum going, but to show you guys what's going on, just something like this. And then there is actually where you could see I left this little piece of plywood. Just because, well, I think I already explained this, but my fill hose for my fuel tanks and all of the copper lines for my ACs run through this little area. In order for me to cut back in there, a lot of that stuff would have had to be moved. And I'm all for trying to completely redo this, but trying to remove the fuel fill lines is not something I wanted to try to tackle. From this line back and here is one small piece of plywood. If anybody asks, that's still there, and it's still plywood there. But as you can see, besides for the burn marks, it was very, very solid plywood in very good shape. And I did actually add this little guy here. So just a little upright to help support this. Just got that cardboard out of the way, kind of gave it a quick vacuum, and this is what she looks like. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. So this actually just gets a box. What are those called there? Like a pump out box. I'm almost forgetting what it is. Like a shower sump, that's it. That sits in here, and this hole here, which still has to be finished being cut out, is where the drains for all my AC compressors, all the condensation that drains down, goes through this hole here, into that box, and then gets pumped out. And other than it being gel coated, I'm probably gonna sand up any rough spots. And that's, for the most part, just what it's gonna look like in the hatches. I'm pretty happy with that, and don't think I need to do anything more than that.